Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. As I uploaded our last video, I have read all the comments, so I came to the conclusion that there is a certain topic that is highly discussed. I'm honest to you guys, I consciously didn't tell you about it in the last video because it's very complex. I always try to teach you step by step, but so many people asked about it, so I'm gonna teach you a very advanced technique that you can now add into your technical repertoire. Let's talk about finger and wrist movement. Yes boy, let's grind. You can imagine this element as the final technical tool. It's like going Sport Plus mode in your car and shifting the gears on your own. It's also comparable if you play a racing game on your PlayStation and put the controller sensitivity on the highest level. When playing Forehand Topspin, we spoke about some of the very important rules. If you didn't watch it yet, make sure to watch our previous video. Focus on my wrist and try to see what's happening. It's hard to see what exactly is happening here in high speed, right? That's why I'm slowly going to explain it to you in detail. We want to add extra control and extra power, but there are a few misconceptions or misunderstandings. Even I, when my coach told me, use your wrist, I understood it totally wrong. Because if we're doing a forehand topspin, we need to let the wrist move naturally. What does that mean? If you try to artificially make your wrist move, you won't be able to take the natural power of your wrist. Number one, very important rule, your wrist can't be too loose because this will result in inefficiency when making space for the ball. Look, my wrist is too loose now. I will have edge errors. I won't be able to place it the way I want. I will do easy mistakes. And if my wrist is too tight, I can't use my wrist at all. I'm limited. I'm stiff. I'm too slow. A very big mistake that a lot of players do is that they are too stiff with the wrist. When that happens, they try to artificially make their wrist move like this. But this is too slow, this is not working. Watch how it looks when I try to artificially use my wrist in forehand topspin. This is stiff, this is not natural. You won't be able to naturally use your wrist. So the best thing is to keep it balanced. Not too tight, not too loose. Because what happens then is that when you make space before the ball and you have a not too tight and not too loose grip, the wrist moves automatically. Look. I'm not doing anything, I'm just making space before the ball and my wrist makes space, snaps in coordination with my body without myself thinking consciously about it. This is just physics that follow our body rotation. Watch. You see? So without thinking, I add wrist acceleration at the contact point. You can try to keep your grip like this. Keep your fingers relaxed too. Keep these two fingers relaxed, not too tight. Keep it like this. And now you make space. Understand? If you mastered the steps from our previous video, you're ready to implement this technique. But the importance here is that you don't focus consciously about your wrist movement, but instead let your wrist naturally follow your body movement, okay? Not too tight, not too loose, just in the middle, and now let it follow. If you mastered this too, then you can add your two fingers consciously for this type of shots. Let me show you. Now I'm gonna give you a few inspirations how you can consciously use your two fingers in combination with your natural wrist additional movement for some really cool shots. I showed you a topspin in the forehand, but at the last moment I used my wrist and my fingers to change the direction. So I basically do a feint. The same I did in the opposite way in the other corner. I showed that I play into the backhand and in the last moment, wrist and fingers, chuck, other corner. Chen Wei-Xing, for example, is a master of this technique. When he's going for a forehand bomber, you never know where the ball is going because in the last moment he changed his fingers and wrist direction. It's very advanced, but guys, you asked for it. I'm not gonna wait to give you the knowledge that you asked for. What else did I do? You can use the wrist and fingers for very sensitive adjustments, like you show that you do the same movement to your opponent, but at the last moment, you give it a little bit more for a high and spinny trajectory. And at the same time, you can do the same movement and then use the wrist and your fingers for a more fast and low shot. Also, you can use the wrist for bananas, just like I showed you before. This is also made with the wrist and the fingers. How else can you use it? Let's say your opponent starts with a very spinny, slow first ball after you push. You can control the arc of the ball with this little add-on. Let me show you. In an advanced way, controlling the arc and the spin is made with these two elements: natural wrist movement and conscious finger adaptation. We can call it like that. As I said, guys, this is very advanced and you need to master the rules and the principles from the previous video. I think I learned this in my last few years after playing 20 years, you know? But if you're ready for it. Let me show you a little exercise how you can try and develop this very sensitive feeling. Attention, this is just for the exercise. This is not your classical grip as it should be. This is just to develop a feeling for your wrist and fingers. Try to hold your rackets only with your thumb and just slightly with your 3 fingers, and your index finger. Should not hold it too tight. I really want you to only hold your racket at around 30% strength with your index finger and only around 30% strength with your other 3 fingers. I really want you that you hold your racket mainly with your thumb now. Why? So you can feel the natural movement of your wrist when making space for the ball. Really try to feel the natural movement of your wrist. And once you develop a feeling, it's time for the final rule, the most important one. 1 millisecond after the contact point, you need to tighten your wrist and your 2 fingers to stop your racket flying to the moon and to generate force. Because the stopping movement at the end of the movement is generating force. If you don't stop it, I think it's obvious, there will be no force. It's just going to be jelly. 1 millisecond after the contact point, tight your wrist and tight your fingers, like this. Remember, not too tight, not too loose, and let's go. Make space, let your wrist move naturally with your body, and 1 millisecond after the contact point, tighten your fingers and your wrist, and this is your last element that you can add to a very professional forehand topspin. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You know I always read all comments, so you request, we deliver. Please don't skip the steps because you will end up in chaos. I share this with you because you requested, and I believe that you know what you're doing, that you are ready for this step. The next video is going to be forehand topspin against heavy downspin push, as you requested, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys, see you in the next video.